Yo, 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 yo. What's up, what's up, what's up? This is your boy, Gilbert. To my left is my sister. Introduce yourself.
Hello, people out there with ears that can hear. My name is Lindsay, and I'm one half of the EBS podcast.
That's what's up. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, you're listening to the third episode of the Educated Black Siblings podcast.
Number 3 for EBS. Number three.
We don't have a theme song.
For EBS. That one was hot. I like that one.
It was kind of hot. If we had a theme song, it should definitely be a trap theme song.
Trap?
That was a trap beat that you just did.
Did I just drop a trap beat?
You did. You just dropped a. You just dropped a trap beat. So anyway, this is the third episode of the Educated Black Siblings podcast. Thank you guys for listening the last couple of weeks. We appreciate it. As we have always said, we want to make sure that you guys are engaging with us. You can do that at educatedblacksiblings@gmail.com or at educatedblacksiblings on Instagram or at the EBS podcast on Twitter.
Add us up.
That's right. What's going on in your life, sis?
Man, I'm chilling here. My head hurts. I had African hands in my head.
That's right. Lindsay's hair is, I don't know if we're going to post a YouTube video this week or not, but Lindsay's hair is laid right now.
It is laid. I got my hair nicely braided by some lovely, lovely ladies. Because I'm going on vacation.
Vacation? Where you going?
I'm going to LA. I'm going to LA next week. I've never been to LA and I'm excited.
Nice. Isn't the Gay Pride Festival in LA?
It surely is. That's not why I'm going. It just happens to coincide with when I'm going to be there. Nice. But I'm probably going to go to Pride. Check it out. I've never been.
You should take lots of pictures.
I don't. Why?
Because I've heard it's like extravagant.
It'll be on the snaps.
Probably. On Snapchat?
On snaps.
You should follow Lindsay on Snapchat.
Do not follow me on Snapchat. No.
We should have an EBS Snapchat.
For what purpose?
For the people to follow us.
We're never together.
Fair. Fair.
All right, Gilbert, tell them about you. Talking about vacays.
So I just got back from St. Lucia. It was fantastic. The water was clear. The people were dark. It is a Caribbean island.
Caribbean?
Yes, Caribbean.
Or
as opposed to Caribbean. If you're watching Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's just so interesting to me. I didn't realize that I changed the way that I say it. Caribbean? Caribbean.
Yes.
I haven't seen any of the Pirates of the Caribbean, so it doesn't actually matter what it's called.
I haven't seen any of them either.
So,
but yeah, St. Lucia is a beautiful, beautiful island. Had a great time.
Do you remember when we were younger and we dressed up as pirates for a solid 3 years for Halloween?
Yeah, I do.
We definly did.
I do remember.
There was a time where we cared about pirates.
No, I think that was just a cheap costume, and parents didn't want to buy us another one.
Okay.
Just recycled it year after year.
Throw our parents under the bus.
It's literally just a striped shirt and a do-rag, and you're a pirate.
I mean, one year, didn't we have like a trash bag and we're vampires?
Facts.
No.
Facts. That did happen.
Mom just cut holes.
It's real. You know?
That's great.
The parents are doing much better now.
They are doing fantastic.
You know, they are great.
They are balling out of control.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Tell us more.
There is. It's just too much for me to handle.
There's a lot. This week, y'all have been wilding out. When I say y'all, I just mean the other 7 billion people on the planet.
I just can't deal with it anymore.
I mean, I can.
It's too much for me. And this is the last part. I don't know if we're going to talk about him today, but I don't think I want to talk about Trump anymore. Like, in life. It's just...
So, here's the thing about that. He's not going away.
That's facts.
As of right now.
That's facts.
So, I mean, as long as he's still him, we going to have something to talk about.
That's true.
You get me? You get what I'm Kofefing?
Kofefe. I don't know. What is it?
It doesn't actually matter.
Because it's not a real word.
He's a 70-year-old man that shouldn't be on Twiter. That's why it doesn't matter.
And then he tried to back it up. He posted a tweet that says, "Who can figure out the real meaning of Kofifi?"
But let's go ahead and talk about this, though. So this may be a segue into what we're about to talk about. So I don't know if y'all have noticed, but anytime Trump has some weird, I don't say scandal because he himself just is a scandal, but anytime he has some weird thing come up, like with him typing Kofifi or something happening with Melania or something, there's some big other issue that's going on in the world. And I feel like this isn't a coincidence that something will pop up with him as a distraction for other things that are happening. So that in mind, can you talk about the big thing that happened this week with Trump?
The Paris climate agreement that
that's the one
that he pulled out of. So the Paris Climate Agreement is exactly what it sounds like. It is an agreement that was drafted in Paris that is a part of the UN, really. And the overall goal of it is to try to combat global warming. So there's lots of specifics you can get into about it. But the overall goal is to not allow the global climate average to rise more than 2 degrees Celsius, which again is trying to combat global warming. So this week, Trump was like, or President Trump, excuse me, let me put respect on his name. President Trump was like, yeah, we're not doing that.
He said, listen, I like being hot, so let's go ahead. Let's melt these ice caps.
And we're going to think about this. We're going to talk about this a little bit later because I do want to talk about the fact that we don't always consider all sides of the argument anymore, it seems. So the reasoning for Trump trying to do what he's doing is because he's basically saying that this is an unfair deal for the United States because part of the deal is that we have to give, excuse me if I get this number wrong, but I believe it's $2 billion towards climate control. So every nation is responsible for giving a certain amount of money. And Trump is feeling like our shake of the deal is unfair. Mm-hmm. But statistically speaking, the United States is the largest contributor to greenhouse emissions in the history of the world.
What was it? We're like 15% of the world's population using 75% of the world's resources, something like that.
That sounds correct. I'm not sure if that's correct.
I took an environmental studies class in college. I slept through most of it, but I think that stat's accurate.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry, Professor. It was rough.
So the question that I asked myself is, okay, so we backed out of this deal. That's whatever. Because I didn't want to jump to conclusions and just be mad at Trump, right? Mm-hmm. So I asked myself, I said self. Did anybody else back out of this deal?
That's a great question.
What do you think? Do you think anybody else backed out of the deal?
Nah.
So there are 196 countries that have signed the agreement. 147 countries have ratified the agreement. Okay. And there are 3 countries who have now rejected it, the United States being one of them.
Who are the other 2?
The other 2 are Nicaragua and Syria.
Okay.
Great
company to be in,
to be in.
I can't deal with this, man.
So Nicaragua and Syria make up for a combined 0.05% of greenhouse emissions, as opposed to the United States being number 2 on the list. I don't want to misrepresent things, right? We are the greatest contributor to greenhouse emissions in history, but China is currently the number 1 year over year, but we are a close number 2.
Because aren't there like 30 billion of them? That makes...
The Chinese?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of Chinese.
Why'd you try to do me just then? Of them, the people that live in China.
The people? Those people?
The Chinese people?
The Chinese people, yes.
You know what? I never liked you.
I did come for you.
Anyways, I thought it was interesting when I read that as well, that Trump was trying to figure out if this deal was good for us or not. But essentially, what I'm understanding is that he doesn't really care either way. So, like, he's like, we should ratify the deal and change it, but if we're not in it, we're not in it. And I think that's dumb, man. I don't know if y'all know this, but we live in Texas, and it is hot.
It is hot here.
And
it's always been hot.
It's always been hot, but it's getting
I don't believe in climate change, so I'm joking.
Tell me more.
I'm joking. It's a joke.
You know who you sound like? Bill Maher.
We're gonna get there. Not yet. We're gonna get there.
Anyways, so but in Texas, especially over the last couple of years, there has been no winter.
There was no winter this year.
There was 0% winter. When I moved up here, I was expecting, well, not in Texas, but a different part of Texas, I was expecting for the winter to be like snowing, iced out. I bought a little car scraper from my ice window. I have seen not a snowflake.
Winter is not coming.
Winter is not coming at all. At all.
Yeah, so there's the Paris climate deal. Then Merkel, I forget her first name, but Angela Merkel from Germany, basically. So the leader of the free world, that has always been a term that referred to the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. But Germany basically came out and said, look, Europe, we on our own, guys. And that is the fact that we're, again, I'm not trying to disrespect President Trump. President Trump is the president. I respect the office of the president, right? But the world community at large is losing respect for our country as a nation.
Did you see that political cartoon? I think it was drawn by a German artist where they had like the table at the UN and all the countries had a chair, and then the US had a baby high chair instead of a chair.
That's how the world views us right now.
That's how they view us.
It's ridiculous. We haven't seen this level of concern in the global community since Bush, but that actually just means that Obama was just kind of dope, because it was Bush, Obama, then Trump. But the UN was also on record as saying that they were concerned about the cowboy, and the cowboy being Bush, right? But
but Bush was chill though.
Bush was chill.
I like Bush.
Yeah, I mean, Bush was dope. So the thing that I want to talk about, we're going to just segue for a second here, the word bigot. What does the word bigot mean to you? Because a lot of times when people say the word bigot, they're talking about a racist, which rightfully so, or they're talking about somebody who's homophobic, or some other sort of denigration of human beings, right? When they're talking about a bigot. But that's not actually the definition of the word bigot. And I'm going somewhere with this, right?
Are you?
I am. The definition of the word bigot is a person who is intolerant towards those holding different opinions.
Different opinions?
Different opinions.
Huh.
That is the definition of the word bigot, right? And of course, a racist is a bigot. Mm-hmm. It's an extreme version of a bigot, right? Mm-hmm. The reason I'm bringing this up is because with this new Trump presidency, I'm looking and I'm noticing that a lot of us, I don't consider myself a liberal, but a lot of people that consider themselves liberal are coming off very bigoted to me, right?
Yeah.
I understand if you don't like Trump, that's fine, but I'm seeing people completely shutting down to even hearing the other side of the argument, right? Yeah. You don't like Trump, that's fine, but you should explore why Trump wants to pull out of this climate deal. Yeah. You should see if there's a legitimate reason. You shouldn't just say, oh, you voted for Trump, you're an idiot, because there are really, really educated people that I know in my life that voted for Trump for legitimate reasons. There are people that were legitimately concerned about the fact that if there was a liberal president, that was going sway the influence of the Supreme Court, because this president is probably going to put 3 judges on the Supreme Court, right? Yeah. So everybody who voted for Trump is not a racist. Everybody that voted for Trump is not a sexist. Everybody that voted for Trump doesn't even like Trump, right? Yeah. And all of the things that Trump is doing aren't terrible. Like Trump is actually putting money into HBCUs, right? Inadvertently. I don't think he did it on purpose, but
he wouldn't like getting black people money.
But it happened, right? Okay. But anyway, again, this is not me supporting Trump. I'm just saying that as open-minded people in the country of the United States, we can't completely shut down to the other side of the argument, or we're just as bad as the people that we claim to be liberal against, right?
I mean, this is something that I personally had to check myself on. Like, right after the election, I was livid that I would never vote. They voted Trump into office, and I was completely blown away. And there was a period of time where if somebody told me they voted for Trump, it made me feel differently towards them. Not necessarily because I thought less of them or anything. It's just because of what he stood for personally. That made me feel differently. Like how he's spoken about minorities and other things, it just made me view you differently if you supported that man. But then I had to sit myself down and say, Lindsay, just because they voted for him doesn't mean that's necessarily how they feel. There's policies behind that, because a lot of Republicans don't necessarily like Trump, but they line up with his policies. So I understand that. But I think you're right. It hurts or liberal or whatever, it hurts your argument when if anytime somebody on the right tries to say something, you shut them down. It's all about having conversation. We can't grow as a nation. We can't grow as a people if we're not talking across party lines. And what I think is crazy is that more so than ever, there is an allegiance to party. And people, like, they put I'm a liberal on their chest, right, and they fight for that cause, which is fine, but I think there needs to be some separation there, because people are getting more and more on board with a label, instead of talking out and hashing out and saying, okay, you're a liberal, but what does that mean? You're a Republican, what does that mean? You're a conservative, what does that mean? You know what I mean? So I think more conversation needs to be had with people in general.
Yeah, and this sounds like the millennial thing to do, because we reject labels as millennials, right? Ugh. Which is ironic because I just label myself a millennial. But anyway, what you just said is important to me, because I think that we have to get away from the party labels and just talk about what we believe and why we believe it, right? Because I say this all the time, and it sounds like I'm just trying to be a contrarian, but I don't fit completely into the Republican box. I don't fit completely into the liberal box, right?
Yeah.
I feel differently about fiscal issues than I do about social issues. And I think that's the majority of Americans, right? I don't think the majority of Americans really check off all of the Republican boxes or all of the libertarian boxes or all of the liberal boxes, right? The Democratic boxes. So again, I just wanted to bring that word up because I think that today, if we're saying that I don't want to hear what you have to say because you're not Christian or you're not whatever religion I am, or I don't want to hear what you have to say because you voted for Trump, you are being bigoted, right? I think that, and that's part of the reason why we started this podcast is like, we're going to say stuff on this podcast where you're going to be able to see what our political allegiance is or how we feel about a certain pop culture item. We want to start that conversation, right? I want to be able to have this dialogue. So I know every podcast says this, but I really mean it. Like if I say something or if Lindsay says something that you disagree with on this podcast, or 5-10 minutes ago, if we said something incorrect about the Paris Climate Agreement, or there's something that I'm not seeing about that agreement, I really want you guys to reach out. Let's talk about it.
Baby, come through.
You deserve a round.
Did you listen to that song?
What song?
Every time I bring that song up, you're like, I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah, I've heard that song.
Okay.
I think.
Anyway.
I mean, I've heard it on like Vines and stuff. But that's pretty much it.
All right. So
that was a random.
I'm sorry. I sing the song a
aside.
lot, and people never know about the song. It is what it is.
Come and see me for once. That's what song I always think it is. But I guess that's neither here nor there, really.
Anyways, moving right along. So I don't know if you heard this week, but there were some issues going on down there in Mississippi. So over the past couple years, there's been a lot of uproar about the Confederate flag and the Confederate like figures, such as statues and things like that. And there was recently a decision made in New Orleans to take down all of the Confederate paraphernalia, if you will. So there's like a huge statue of General Robert E. Lee that was taken down. Well, there was a Mississippi representative named Carl Oliver who
put his whole government name.
He decided to make a statement about how he felt about them taking down these things. I want to read you what he said. He said, "The destruction of these monuments, erected in the loving memory of our family and fellow Southern Americans, is both heinous and horrific. If the, and I use this term extremely loosely, leadership of Louisiana wishes to, in a Nazi-ish fashion, burn books or destroy historical monuments of our history, they should be lynched. Let it be known, I will do all in my power to prevent this from happening in our state."
Did he really say lynched?
So this fool, who is white by the way, this fool decided to say that anybody who's taken down Confederate symbols should be lynched. And boy, oh boy, do I have some thoughts about that.
It was a poor choice of words.
Now, before we get into it, I do want to say that he did issue an apology. Okay.
Of course he issued an apology.
He did issue an apology, but here's the thing, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Once you make a statement like that, you can keep your, like, poo-poo on your apology. I don't need it, because you've already said how you truly feel. Like, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Mm. You've already said how you feel. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what this man said. First off, the Confederate flag and Confederate symbols, they have a negative connotation to them. Do you agree? Like there's no getting behind that. I understand what you're saying. They do represent a part of our country and the South, whatever.
I disagree, right?
Oh, okay, sure. Let's go for it.
No. I don't disagree that they have negative symbols. I disagree that they represent our country. And this, I actually...
like a history.
I disagree, right? Let me tell you why I disagree. The Confederate States were a separate country from the United States of America, right? The Civil War was a war between what they believed was two different countries, right?
They hadn't seceded yet.
In my mind, right, the Confederate flag represents a nation that rebelled against the United States. So I feel like it's treasonous to rep that flag, personally.
That's fine. I get what you're saying, but I understand part of what he's saying, and the fact that it's a part of history. So even if you're saying that,
so is Nazi Germany.
Exactly. Let me get there. But even so, okay. So I guess what he's saying is like he makes a statement about like burning books and stuff. So is he saying that should you get rid of all swastikas and anything that talks about World War I and all those?
No,
World War II?
No. But in Germany right now, what would the reception be if they raised a Nazi flag? It's the exact same thing.
I agree on that statement, but what I'm saying is I mean, is it the same extent though?
Yes. Not the Nazis were the ruling party in Germany, and then during World War II, we came in there, removed that regime, and then made it just Germany, right? So then now it's just Germany, and the Nazis no longer a part of that flag. If somebody in Germany says the Nazi history that party is a part of our history, and I identify with them, and they raise the Nazi flag, that would not be okay.
It wouldn't be.
So why is it okay for people that were a part of a nation that said that we don't want to be a part of the United States of America, we want to be the Confederate States of America, they fought a war against the United States of America, lost. Whoa. Why is it okay for them to still raise that's treason. That's another country. Another country that was against our country.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I agree with you.
Are you calling me a bigot?
I don't know why. I feel like you're calling me a bigot.
I'm not.
I feel like there's a lot of bigotness going on here.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, but we're going to talk about the Confederate flag in a little bit, but I want to talk about his choice of word.
Lynching?
He said anybody who does this should be lynched.
That was a poor choice of words.
Bruh.
That was a poor choice of words.
Lynched. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. Because people that try to say that Confederate symbols and Confederate flags don't carry any meaning, I think that's BS. And you know it. And you know it's BS because
you said lynched.
Because you chose that word on purpose. Lynched, yeah. Nobody in their everyday life just like, yeah, they out here lynching. Nobody.
Mostly black people were lynched.
Mostly black people.
Were lynched.
So I don't understand. But let's go ahead and you've kind of already laid out how you feel about the Confederate flag.
I'm open to hear the other side of the argument.
There is no other side. I think that if you are repping the Confederacy at this point in your life, you're dumb. But let's make it.
You know what? I get it. These people, they've got great grandfathers and great uncles or whatever that served in the Confederate Army, and they're trying to pay respects to their ancestors. I get it. I got a little heated about it a few seconds ago. It is what it is. I understand the other side of the argument, but I'm just saying, specifically with Nazi regalia, it's a pretty interesting parallel because it's almost the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. I feel like you wouldn't be okay in Germany with somebody flying a Nazi flag. That's all I'm saying. So in Northern Ireland, they wouldn't be okay with you flying the Union Jack because they seceded from the UK, right? Mm-hmm. That was another country that they warred against, that their mothers, sisters, brothers, fathers died in that war. It's not okay for you to fly. They get mad if you even mention the UK in Ireland.
Yeah. Unless you wear your Ireland shirt.
I am wearing it. This is one of my favorite places in the world.
Calm down. So, I want to bring it a little bit closer to home. So we live in Texas, which is... Texas is a part of the...
I shouldn't have said any of that. Can we...
They coming for you.
Can we edit this part of the
coming for you?
I love the Confederate.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So Texas is a part of the South, but Texans, we have our own sense of pride. Like, it's like the South, and then Texas is its own thing. But don't get me wrong, I have Texas pride, but when it comes to Confederate flags and Confederate paraphernalia and stuff, speaking for me personally as a young black person, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, I'm not speaking for all black people, but I want to tell you about my personal experience. So, haven't you seen a lot of Confederate flags?
Here?
Yes.
Yeah. In my neighborhood.
They're just all over the place. I have to drive past 2 of them every day on my way to work. The school in which I teach at, there's 2 flying freely in the neighborhood. So I want to tell you like a little story real quick. So last year I was on my way to one of my friend's wedding, and my +1 and I were driving, and her wedding was at this far out place, like 45 minutes away from where I live. And it was like the wedding itself was really, really cute, and the venue was adorable. Like, it was this, I don't want to say a barn, but I can't think of how else to describe it.
Adorbs.
But it was adorbs. It was like this like really done up, barnish type looking thing. I don't know how to describe it. Anyways, main point is, so my friend that was getting married was white. All of her family was white. We were pretty much the only black people there. So my date and I are both black. So we're driving on our way there. As we're driving out, the further and further we get away from the city, the more out in the country we are, the little bit more on edge we both kind of get. And on the way there to the wedding, we passed by 4 Confederate flags, like not just like little ones, like huge ones flying on poles, like right next to like the Texas state flag. And my date makes a joke and he goes, he's like, Lindsay, I didn't sign up to be lynched tonight. Like, what's going on here? And we both laugh about it and we continue about our day. But the thing about that is that joke, that statement comes from a place of discomfort. And as a young Black person, anytime I see a Confederate flag, it makes me uncomfortable. And I hate it when people try to defend that. It's like, no, when I see that flag, I think of a group of people, of a nation, if you will, of people that supported and defended the right to enslave and beat and torture my ancestors. And that makes me feel uncomfortable. And you can say what you want about, oh, it's just a symbol of the South or whatever. It's like, no, that's BS and you know it. But I don't understand. I'm one person. I know I've never been in a group of Black people where we've seen a Confederate flag where we all didn't make a statement. So if there's a large majority of people that feel this way about a symbol, I don't know why it's okay for that thing to still be around.
It's okay because you have freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Like I have my feelings about the Confederate flag, but I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to fly the Confederate flag in your house. Now, the thing that you brought up, the story you brought up, is talking about federal buildings, right? Or is
yes.
So
it wasn't like personal people.
Right, I think that's different. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think we should be flying the Confederate flag in federal courthouses, right?
Yeah.
If you want to put a Confederate flag on your lawn, that's your if you want to put, honestly, I know I said this earlier, but if you want to put a Nazi flag on your lawn, I'd support and defend your right to do that, right? That is your freedom of expression. But when it comes to federal property, federal buildings, etc., I personally don't think we should be repping the Confederate flag. But that's just that's just me.
Well, go ahead then.
You know, it is what it is.
I feel you, boo. I like the South though.
I do like the South, the Southwest. That is. I think that I don't think that all people who fly the Confederate flag are racist. I definitely don't believe that.
No.
But I think there should be some sort of symbol and registration for racist people, just so I can know where you stand.
That'd be nice.
You know what I mean?
That'd be good.
Like I prefer overt racism to hidden racism. Mm-hmm. Like I prefer for you to just come right out and be like, I don't like niggers. I'd be like, you know what, man? I appreciate you letting me know where you stand.
Right.
So like, I can know to cross the street when I'm walking towards your
Let's
house.
not beat around the bush.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't like me, that's cool. You stay over there, I stay over here. We good. We Gucci.
We good. Now,
it.
I know we brought this up while talking about the Confederate flag. I'm not saying that people... It's just what it made... Because when I see the Confederate flag, I cross the street. Like, there's a guy in my neighborhood who I've met, really, really sweet guy. He's awesome, right? But he has a huge... Like, his Confederate flag takes up the inside of his back wall of his garage. Mm-hmm. When I'm jogging, I don't jog on that side of the street. I'm just... You never know, you know what I mean? So maybe I'm a bigot. You know, but it is what it is. No, I'm open to the... Look, if you rep the Confederate flag and you're listening to this podcast, shoot me an email at educatedblacksibling@gmail.com. I would like to understand your reasoning for rocking with the Confederate flag. Now let's move on.
Let's move right on along.
So... we were preparing for the podcast today. Something came across the timeline. So this is breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. It won't be breaking news by the time you listen to this podcast.
It won't be. But it literally happened like 20 minutes before.
It happened while we were preparing for the podcast. So, Bill Maher. Lindsay, tell the people what happened, please. I can't.
So Bill Maher is a TV personality that is known for pushing the envelope and saying bizarre things and having very extremist views. But there was an interview that he did, I think, yesterday with a Republican senator where there was a statement made, and I'm going to go ahead and play the clip for you, and then we're going to go right into it.
Got to get to Nebraska more. You're welcome. We'd love to have you work in the fields with us. Work in the field? That's part of that. That's... Senator, I'm a house. No, it's a joke.
So if you couldn't quite quite catch that. Essentially what happens is that the senator says, hey, Bill, you should come over and visit us in Nebraska. We'd love to have you work in the fields. And Bill says, I can't do that. In the fields? I'm a house nigga.
Yeah, in case you... They did bleep it out.
It was on HBO, but HBO played it, but this clip I got was from CNN. They didn't. They bleeped it out. But Bill said,
I'm a house nigger.
Bill said, I'm a house nigger.
Can we start a nigger count? Because we've said, I think that's the sixth time.
So, spoiler alert, we're going to use the N-word multiple times in this next, because Bill said it.
Because Bill Maher said it.
Who is indeed a white man. So, a couple of things.
In case you didn't know, Bill Maher is a white guy, which is fine. We love white people. White people are fantastic. I love all people, except for the ones that just randomly say nigger for no. And I really like Bill Maher. So first of all, my initial reaction to this clip was unbridled laughter.
Oh yeah,
because I feel okay. So
tell us how you feel.
We're gonna have to talk about whether or not it's appropriate for Caucasians or anybody that's not black to use the N-word on a different podcast, right?
Yeah.
Let's focus specifically on this issue today. Charlamagne the God is somebody that I listen to often, said something interesting about the Kathy Griffin thing that just happened, where she had a head of the president dead. He said, it's only okay to be offensive if it's funny, right?
Charlamagne.
And this Bill Maher thing is fresh for me, so I have not had time.
We haven't had time to
digest this. Right?
It just happened.
So I'm not quite sure how. Okay, he shouldn't have said how. So he's mocking slavery first and foremost, right? So house nigger. For those of you that aren't familiar with the terms, right? There were in slavery times there were slaves that were in the house only, so they called those house niggers, right?
There it is.
And then there were people in the field doing field slave work, and it was called field niggers, I guess, right? I wasn't there. I don't know. That's what people tell me, right? So he's making light of something that shouldn't be made light of, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. So this joke, it was a joke, right? It was done in poor taste.
Oh my.
It was absolutely done in poor taste.
I cannot.
Bill Maher is the king of the hot take.
He is.
This might be too hot for Bill.
It's Bill.
This might be too hot for Bill.
You're done, Bill.
I think Bill might be done.
You're done, Bill. You've done a lot, but I don't think you rebound from this one.
Yeah.
You don't come back from this. And here's my thing. I too, when I read this, Gilbert can attest for this. When I read it, I laughed out loud hard. And Gilbert didn't know why I was laughing. I laughed until I saw the clip and I let it settle in for a little bit. I don't like the ease
of which he said
he
says nigger a lot.
Like
You
can tell this is something he says on a regular basis. Like he said it so easily.
Yeah.
And then casually was like, no, it's a joke. Like he knew what he had done. He realized that he wasn't on his living room couch.
Like have you ever said something and saw the words coming out of your mouth and wished that you could pull them back?
Like, oh no.
Yeah.
But it's too late, Bill.
It was too late, Bill.
So what do you think should happen to Bill?
What do I think should happen to Bill? Like I just said earlier, this is an amazing country that we live in which we have freedom of speech and expression. That word has a very, very dark and painful history. I don't know what should happen to Bill Maher, man. That's a loaded question. It sounds like you're asking me if I believe he should get his show taken, or because that's really the only thing because it's not against the law to say the word nigger unless it's deemed as hate speech, which it clearly wasn't in this context, right? He was telling a joke and he called himself a nigger, right? He wasn't talking to a black person. He wasn't talking about a black person, so this is not...
It's okay. He was calling himself a house
This
nigger.
is not classified... This is not what I would classify as hate speech, but I don't know.
This is what I will say. Bill has said some off-the-wall stuff. Like,
if you're looking at this on camera, I wasn't prepared to talk about this, and I'm visibly stressed out
it's fine.
Now. I don't...
This is what I will say. If you are in the public eye, then I think a major thing you have to be concerned with is public opinion. So here's the thing. Bill Maher was on HBO. HBO didn't bleep the word. HBO has We watch Game of Thrones. We have seen some ridiculous things that have happened on Game of Thrones and other HBO shows that were way more grotesque and brutal and whatever than somebody possibly using a slur. Not possibly.
The Educated Black Siblings podcast right now is defending somebody.
I'm not defending him. Listen. I'm not defending him at all. But I just want to say this, is that public opinion is going to hurt you more than anything else. So while Bill, he said this word and he shouldn't have, and it was bad, he can apologize all he wants. I think that people are going to call for his resignation.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen.
And I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
So like I said, he has the right to say whatever he wants, but you said it, you shouldn't have.
He shouldn't have said
you
it.
doof. And now I'm very intrigued. I'm sure within the next 48 hours, somebody's going to issue some sort of statement, and we will see how this goes.
Yeah, HBO's going to have to let him go.
Like, they're going to have to.
Yeah.
You can't.
And it's a really... This actually is going to be interesting because it's a really, really popular show. But you look at... O'Reilly just got the axe.
Yeah, but he needed to go.
Tommy Lauren just got the axe.
But
this is the first liberal guy. Because Bill Maher is not a conservative, really. He's kind of conservative.
He's a little conservative.
But, man, I don't know. Man. I don't know what's going to happen to Bill Maher. I'm personally... Again, I feel bad. This is new information for me, right? New. So I'm just like... I'm still trying to process it. I don't know really what should happen to Bill Maher. Again, I'm a huge proponent of freedom of speech. Let me ask you this question. If Eminem said the N-word in a rap, would you be calling for his resignation?
As a rapper?
Yeah. Would you call for his resignation as a rapper?
No.
What I'm saying is that this is a comedy is a performance. This is a performance piece. He was telling a joke. He did not point at a black person and say, "I hate you, nigger." He said, "I'm a house nigger." Now, this what he did was disrespectful. And again, even though he was talking about himself, he was making light of something that's very, very serious. And as I'm thinking more about it, it's not okay, right? Because again, slavery is not a joke, and it's specifically not a joke to white people. I know I know that that's difficult to understand because I know we have white listeners, right? So I know that that's difficult to grasp sometimes, right? But it's not okay to say nigger, man. So it's just not okay.
So I've got something else to bring up to you, and this is kind of, like I said, we're going to have a separate conversation about the N-word as a whole coming up. But, so there's another comedian that I absolutely love, Louis C.K. Louis C.K. has used the N-word multiple times.
Was it funny?
In his it was hilarious. so, in this...
I don't know what... I don't know. I give up.
Gilbert's hands are in the air. You are... Okay, we're going to move on because you're visually... You are distressed, and I'm sorry for bringing it up, but it just happened.
Like, I just don't know.
Listen, y'all just shoot us your opinions of what you think, and we'll go from there, man.
Was it funny?
Bill.
I laughed. I don't... It's terrible. He shouldn't have done it.
So, moving along.
He shouldn't have done it. It's terrible.
Kathy Griffin.
Right? Yeah. She cut off the president's head.
Oh, Kathy.
Kathy, you can't do that.
You literally can't do that, Kathy.
It's illegal.
It's just a classy felony, Kathy. You can't, and it wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. This is an excellent juxtaposition, right?
Perfect.
Bill Maher, offensive, kind of funny. Kathy Griffin, what the hell are you doing?
What are you doing, Kathy? It made me uncomfortable.
Here's the thing. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to say it again, right? Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America. As Americans, regardless of who owns that title, we have to respect the office of the president. Mm-hmm. When they did this, people are posting all of these memes about when they did this to Obama, you weren't outraged or whatever. Go Google the list of people who are currently in jail because of those sorts of images, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, people were outwardly hateful and terrible towards Obama, but there are also a lot of people in jail for terroristic threats to President Obama. Now, Kathy Griffin was not threatening the president. I don't think that Kathy Griffin should go to jail. Kathy Griffin, again, has freedom of expression. She can do whatever she wants. But Kathy, that wasn't funny.
It was a dumb choice, Kathy. I don't know why you did that. But it was interesting because Trump said something, and man, I don't really be messing with that dude, but he said something that kind of made him personable to me. where he talked about how his 11-year-old son saw that and freaked out. And a lot of people were like joking about that.
Trump ain't dumb.
But to like in my head as an 11-year-old kid, if I saw a picture of my dad's head severed and cut off, I'd freak out too. So I mean, Kathy, that was dumb, Kathy. Like, you shouldn't have done that, and it wasn't funny. But has Kathy Griffin ever been funny?
I don't know that I've ever laughed at a Kathy Griffin joke, so that's
like, she's one of those people where somebody says her name, I'm like, does she have work? What does she do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Name one Kathy Griffin thing she's done.
Hold up ahead of the president.
However, Kathy also issued an apology, which don't care. But she did that because she's getting dropped from whatever potential gig she was about to have.
Squatty Potty. She was.
What did you just say to me?
She was the spokesperson. No, she's a spokesperson for Squatty Potty.
Who?
Squatty Potty.
Explain to me what a squatty potty is.
Squatty Potty is a stool that you put in front of the potty, and it helps you, because we've been pooping wrong. It helps you elevate your legs so that the bowel movement comes out smoothly. You can Google it. It's real. Kathy Griffin is a spokesperson for Squatty Potty, and they have dropped her.
Do you have a Squatty Potty?
I don't have a Squatty Potty.
I've never heard of this thing till right now. Why do you have knowledge
It was on Shark Tank.
Squatty Potty. No, it wasn't.
It was on...
Was Kathy on Squatty Potty? Shark Tank?
No, she wasn't. But Squatty Potty is real, and...
We're not talking about Squatty Potty right now, but apparently
I just Googled it. Kathy Griffin Squatty Potty deal in toilet after photo.
Stop.
It is an amazing headline. Look at the Squatty Potty. See?
That's just a regular stool.
It is. It's just a stool. It's just a stool. Anyway,
when I go to the bathroom, I'm supposed to have a stool?
So she's losing her endorsements. You're correct. So she had to apologize. Her endorsements are in the toilet.
But apparently she also does something during New Year's Eve time or some other holiday where she's like a host or something, and they're about to drop her for that too.
They should.
And I say, good on you, Kathy. Because
did you say good on you?
Good on you?
What does that even? What does that mean?
I don't know. You said Squatty Potty, and it threw my whole brain off.
I did say Squatty Potty.
Like having a malfunction.
So Kathy Griffin, ridiculous. Bill Maher, ridiculous. We're gonna come back. So I know that my brain kind of shut down when we were talking about the N-word. We're going to come back and we're going to cover that in detail on another podcast when I have time to collect my thoughts. Bill Maher shouldn't have said what he said, and it's very, very... We'll continue talking about what happens to Bill Maher. So, I don't know. You remember this song?
Why are you playing
Do you remember this song? The reason I'm playing this song is because Subway, I'm driving in the car and I hear a Subway advertisement, and you know what it was for?
What was it for?
$6 footlongs.
What do you mean?
They running a special for $6 footlongs.
How is that a special, Subway? You have the $5 footlong.
Like, no, they don't have I don't think they had a $5 footlong anymore. I think
when did that happen?
I heard it last week.
No, like, when did they get rid of the $5?
I don't know.
Well, guess who won't be going to Subway?
You?
This woman right here.
Full disclosure, I actually don't know if they got rid of the $5 footlong. I heard a commercial for $6 footlongs. All I know is you can't run a commercial for $6 footlongs when you have a song about $5 footlongs.
Like, anytime somebody mentions Subway, the first thing I want to do is sing the $5 footlong song.
Subway sounds a lot like Segway, which I don't have one of for the segment. I just started playing the $5
like, you just
song.
Jumped in. I was like, did Kathy also get dropped from Subway? No.
I just want to move on to pop culture.
Okay. All right. So, what else is going on in pop culture, Gilbert?
So, aside from Subway, because I'm hungry, McDonald's now has gourmet burgers. Have you seen
What
this?
have you been listening to?
I've been listening to the food that I don't eat station on the radio.
Listen.
Because I'm halfway vegan. In case you guys didn't know, I'm halfway vean. I only eat meat
He's
twice
also
a
halfway
week.
lying.
I only eat meat twice a week.
I only eat meat twice a week. Do vegans do they get breaks in the week? I'm a vegan except on Fridays.
That's legit it.
Nah.
I'm a vegan.
I thought you were a pescatarian.
I was a pescatarian for a little bit.
That's where you just eat fish.
Fish and no other meat. But I like steak too much.
Yeah.
Steak is delicious.
Yeah, meat is a treat.
Please don't ever say that again. But anyway, so McDonald's, I guess they're trying to compete with these like smash burgers, Five Guys, etc. So they've got gourmet burger. They call them signature burgers. There's the barbecue, the spicy, the classic. I just realized that I'm just listing off
Like you're
McDonald's
like
burgers.
why? What is wrong with you?
I don't even eat at McDonald's, but it is. What do you got? What's going on in pop culture?
What's wrong with you?
In Lindsay's world, are you watching the what's the show that you were gonna watch with the black lady on it that's trying to get the men's?
What?
The black lady that's trying to get the men's.
The black lady? Oh, the Bachelorette?
Yeah, there you go. Are you actually watching it?
Bro, you are wilding out.
I am. You shut my brain down with this Bill Maher thing.
I'm sorry. Why don't you go sit on your squatty potty and chill out for a second?
Should. I need a squatty break.
I said that I was going to watch The Bachelorette, but then I realized, regardless of the race of The Bachelorette, I just don't care. So I have not gotten around to it yet. I heard it was cool. So, I mean, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I'll probably watch this weekend and then update y'all next week. Or the week, whatever, in the fortnight when we come back.
Do you know who Assad is?
Khaled's son?
Yes.
Yes.
Not the leader of Syria.
Oh, I was like,
yes.
We've moved past
We're done with politics, right? So Assad, DJ Khaled's son.
We the best!
That was really loud.
I'm sorry.
Nicki Minaj called him a snack. So Nicki Minaj said that DJ Khaled's son in a piece. So DJ Khaled recently just announced that the Drake vocals came in.
Focus.
Wait, hold on. Do you watch DJ Khaled's Snapchat?
I sure do.
So he's always asking, did the vocals come in? Whatever, right? So the Drake vocals actually came in. So he was announcing the new Drake song that he has coming out on Monday. And he posted a picture. I guess his son is on the track art for the picture. Have you seen it?
His son's on everything.
His son
he
is
loves
on
his son, and I support it.
You know what? I do support him loving his son. I mean, that's a good thing, right?
And his son's adorable.
But
Snack, if you will.
Don't say that. No, you can't call him a snack.
Why? That's
Nicki
cute.
Minaj posted a tweet and said Assad is really out here looking like a snack, and then she put all of the heart eyes. Now, in case you guys don't know why this is not okay to Twitter, right? The first tweet reply after that is, dang, you just like your brother.
Oh, no.
Nicki Minaj is 34 on Twitter calling it in for the snack. The reason why Nicki Minaj's brother is currently fighting a rape charge of a 12-year-old child. So Nicki Minaj's brother is a pedophile or an alleged pedophile, right? So this is why people just got to be more aware of their social media.
I don't see anything wrong with what Nicki said. I think
You don't see anything wrong with calling a small child a snack when your brother's a pedophile?
No comment.
No comment. All right. I'm just saying. Stuff like that tends to run in the family. I shouldn't say stuff like that. I apologize, Nikki. Nikki, please, Barbs, don't come for me.
Barbs, come for him.
Don't come for me, Barbs. What else we got on the pop culture side, sis?
The finals is happening.
The NBA finals are indeed happening. We're not gonna.
Ballers. Did you play that game?
NBA Ballers?
Yes,
I played NBA Ballers.
I love NBA Ballers. It's the finals, man, and I couldn't care less. Don't get me wrong. So, little tidbit about Gilbert and I, and our family in general, we love basketball.
Facts.
That's the thing that we do. We've all played basketball our entire lives.
We love basketball to the point where when I go home to visit my mom, and I say, Mom, I want to spend some quality son mom time. You want to go for a walk? You want to go out to dinner? My mom says no, but there's some basketball games on.
One time I was at home, Mom was like, "We gonna watch the game?" I said, "Who's playing tonight, Mom?" She was like, "The Bucks and the Raptors."
Like,
why would I watch that game?
We come from a family where our mother, this is not the dad. Our dad started an AAU basketball program in San Antonio, so he's a huge basketball fanatic. But the our mother will sit down and watch the full Bucks and Raptors game.
With no allegiance to either team.
No allegiance. Name 5 Bucks. Name 1 Buck besides Giannis Antetokounmpo.
When you said that, I was gonna say deer.
Deer, you're gonna say deer is a. Anyway, who are you picking to win the finals?
So here's the thing: when it comes down to professional teams in the NBA, I don't care. I'm from San Antonio, so I rep the Spurs. Yo, Kawhi, but
I hate the Spurs, by the way.
Well, you can go ahead and get gone. I like the Spurs, but we out. This is what I'll say: I feel like Golden State is stacked. I don't support that, even though I like Kevin Durant and Curry as individuals. I don't really support your team, but it's fun to watch.
Why don't you support their team?
I don't like the move that Durant made.
What dynasty in history wasn't stacked? Jordan played with 3 Hall of Famers on his team.
It's not about Jordan.
Okay.
Let's talk about LeBron.
All right.
Because LeBron's better than Jordan.
All right, we're not doing that on this podcast.
You telling me if LeBron wins this one, he's not the greatest?
We're not doing that. Don't do that, Lindsay.
Come on, Gilbert.
Don't do this.
Come through.
Don't do. I'm a Kobe Bryant fan.
Anyway,
so it is what it is.
No one cares about Kobe.
Bruh, don't do this.
So, and I'm just pushing his buttons, y'all. I'm sorry. Gilbert is the biggest Kobe Bryant fan in the history of life, and it's unfortunate that he hitched his wagon to Kobe. But anyways, I like LeBron. I don't know. I really don't care. Like, I don't have an allegiance to either team. I just like good basketball, so it's fun. I love the finals. I love playoff time because basketball is always on. So, I love good basketball. I would like to see LeBron win another one. But I would also like for Kevin Durant to get one. So, like, I really just don't care. What about you?
I think it's going to be Warriors in 7. I think that if this game doesn't go 8, the NBA is in trouble.
Did you say go 8?
Yeah, it's got to go 8 games.
This
We've known who was going to be in the finals all year.
Yeah.
The Warriors have not lost in the finals yet. It's been in the playoffs yet. It's been an extremely boring NBA playoffs in the Western Conference, at least to me. So it's got to go 8 games, man. I need.
You keep saying 8 games.
It's got to go 8 games. It's
it's best of 7, right?
It's got to go 7, and we need 4 overtimes.
In the 7th game,
we need 4 extra.
And it has to be decided on a buzzer beater.
We need like this game 1, this blowout foolishness. No,
true.
I need point margin of 2. Point margin of 2 every game. I'm done. I don't want to talk about the NBA.
Okay, then we're done.
NBA. Let's talk about Kim Kardashian.
Kim K?
Yes, Kim K.
Why are we
Why? So I love technology, and I have this thing called Google Play Newsstand. If you have an Android phone, you also have Google Play Newsstand. You just probably don't use it. But you can tailor Google Play Newsstand to give you news about only things that you care about. So
do you have Kim Kardashian? Do you care about Kim K?
So Kanye West is in my list of things that I care about. So it sends me Kardashian articles too. So I get a post. So apparently, I've never watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Never done it. But apparently Kim K wants to have another child. She can't have more children. So she's been polling her family apparently about who's going to be her surrogate. And her mother has volunteered. And Khloe has also volunteered. Is that weird?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. I was gonna say that would be like me asking you, but you're a man, so
right. I would be the surrogate for your child if you needed me to.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's an easy promise to make because it's not possible.
You're right. You ain't shit. So let's move right along. I think that's weird, Kim. But I mean, hey, do you? If your family's willing to do that for you, then hey, I support you and your family. The Kardashians, man, they're interesting people to me. I was forced to watch one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So I got my hair braided a couple of years ago, and the lady that was doing my hair liked the show, so she watched an episode of it. So I had to sit there and watch it, and I will never watch it again.
Facts.
Is the show still on?
Yeah, it's still got a season going on right now.
It's on E, right? What else comes on E?
The dude from 106 in Park, I think, has a show on E.
AJ?
No, not that dude. The other one. The one after AJ.
Bow Wow?
No, the one after AJ, but before Bow Wow. He was in the movie with Kevin Hart. It literally doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
What else is going on in the pop culture world?
Literally nothing else.
I know, right? It's been a
rough
news week.
Wonder Woman just came out. I'm about to go see that.
Are you gonna go see it?
Mm-hmm.
We both watched, so we mentioned this before, that we both like stand-up a lot. So we both watched the Hassan Minaj Homecoming King on Netflix. Mm-hmm. I really, really enjoyed that stand-up special.
It was fantastic. But Gilbert and I were both talking about what stand-up is. I don't know if it's like stand-up comedy, but it's like him talking and telling stories.
He was standing up.
He was standing. Yes, but it was fantastic. I couldn't recommend it more.
Yeah, you should definitely go. It's on Netflix. If you have a Netflix subscription, you're already paying for it, so why not go watch it?
Or somebody you know is paying for it.
Or somebody you know is
Hey,
paying
good
for
looking
it.
out, Gilbert.
Right. But it's very compelling. I feel weird saying, like, recommending it as a stand-up special because you're going to be expecting it to be really, really funny. It's more like a one-man show that happens to be funny, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like,
It's great.
Yeah, I was engaged the entire time. He's really, really funny, and he's the correspondent on the
Daily Show?
On the Daily Show, so it's
Do you watch the Daily Show?
that's the one with Trevor Noah, right? Or is that the other one? I watched Trevor Noah's clips on YouTube.
I just realized I don't know what the Daily Show is.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say that's the one with Jon Stewart, but he's not on there.
He's not on there anymore.
It is
John
the one-
Oliver is.
No,
Not John Oliver. What's the boy
It is
name?
Trevor Noah,
Trevor Noah. Yeah.
right?
It is. John Oliver is Last Week Tonight, which is a fantastic show. I love it.
I don't think Trevor Noah is funny.
I like Trevor. Trevor Noah has made his career on Donald Trump, though. Like, he got that job at the perfect time for him to be able to go viral on those Trump things.
Yeah, I don't find him funny at all.
I watched both of his stand-up specials, and they weren't funny. So, yeah, that's fine.
But hey, I support you, Trevor. Go ahead, do your thing, boo.
So, as always, we have a top 5 for you guys this
Top
weekend.
top five. It's your top five. Sorry.
So, our top 5 today is going to be our top 5 90s cartoons. All right? Everybody watches cartoons most people watch cartoons.
Nobody watches. When they were kids.
When they were kids, right? I feel like the 90s was the golden era of cartoons. So we're going to go over our top 5 90s cartoons today. These are our top 5 favorite 90s cartoons. I want you guys, though, to add us at the EBS Podcast on Twitter or send us a message on Gmail at educatedblacksibling@gmail.com. Let us know what your top 5 is.
Before we start, can we go ahead and talk about how difficult this list was?
It was difficult. I kind of want to rattle off just some names of 90s cartoons, but I don't want to like overshadow the lists. But there's some cartoons that I had forgot about.
Oh yeah.
And like, so are you breaking the rules with any of yours today?
No.
Okay. I thought about making you really, really mad because there was a run on Cartoon Network where it was Johnny Bravo,
Yes.
Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Cow and Chicken. But I think they all came
They
on.
all came at the same.
They all they were like 15-minute episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta be able to make those all
It was
one
all
cartoon.
one. Yeah.
Is that one? Can that be one cartoon?
I don't know. Cartoon Network was balling out of control.
Cartoon Network
man.
was crazy.
But I guess when your network is the Cartoon Network.
Do you remember Hey Arnold?
Yes. Hey Arnold is one of my honorable mentions.
Do you remember? Talk about it.
Hey Arnold was fantastic.
It was.
And you know what I loved about Hey Arnold and a lot of these things that are on my list is that Hey Arnold would be super funny and then it'd get super serious.
It was super serious.
And it's just like throw you out of control. I also love the multicultural like situation that Arnold was in.
At
like,
all times.
At all times.
Didn't he grow up in a project?
Like it was in the project
Like,
with like single parents, like random this culture over here.
Right.
Like it was great. It was fantastic. And there was a lot of jazz.
There was a lot
in
of
Hey
jazz.
Arnold, and that was fun.
Another one that didn't make my list. 2 that didn't make my list. Rocko's Modern Life. Do you remember? Rocko's Modern Life was fantastic.
I loved it.
And Our Real Monsters. Our Real Monsters went so hard,
Loved
son.
it.
Like I just want I'm not even giving you my top 5, but I love my 10 that didn't make it.
There's one of my honorable mentions that I don't want to say because I think you may have it on your list, but one I know you don't have on your list that I will say is Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, that
And it
wasn't on my list.
And that was hard for me to keep off.
Another
That
Cartoon
made-
Network show.
Yeah, in which Cartoon Network balled out of control. I loved Courage. It was funny, but that show was scary as heck. Like as a kid at that time, I used to get freaked out. Go watch it's called The Cat's Motel. I've never forgotten. Go watch that episode with the weird cat and the hotel and the music that they played. That show was creepy as heck, man. It was fantastic.
My last honorable mention before we jump into it is all anime. So
Literally any anime.
all anime. So Dragon Ball Z should be on my list.
Is
but
it not?
It's not. I'm separating anime into something different altogether. But I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. But it's not just Dragon Ball Z. There was
Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing was so like those aren't cartoons, man. Like Gundam Wing was a drama. Like it was Gundam Wing was
indeed.
legit a drama. It was like Trigun, Cowboy Bebop,
Boy Bebop.
Sailor Moon, pause, Rurouni Kenshin, Inuyasha. Like, anime was lit.
Just pause.
Like, bro, Cartoon Network was legit. Like, well, I would just come home, turn Cartoon Network on at 4:30 and just let it rip. I'm talking about when I was in high school. Like,
That's real.
Anyway, let's get into the top 5. This is our top 5 90s cartoons. My number 5 on my list is a cartoon that I think a lot of people sleep on. Gargoyles.
I forgot about Gargoyles. Gilbert used to watch the heck out of Gargoyles.
Gargoyles was
he
legit.
had Gargoyles action figures. It was
Like,
great. I'm sorry.
That show was legit.
It used to freak me out.
Like, it was really... Like, what happened to dark cartoons?
It used to freak me out.
Like, cartoons used to be really dark.
Yeah, I wasn't about it.
Like, Gargoyles was... Like, the story was heavy on Gargoyles. Like, Gargoyles was legit, man.
I think I strayed away from it because I could never say Gargoyles. So, I think that's what
Speech impediments are real.
So, I think it's important to point out that Gilbert and I are 5 years apart.
Mm.
So, when we say 90s cartoons, like, there's going to be a little bit of difference because, like, that was his, like, legit childhood. I grew up, like, I was born in the early 90s, like in 92. So, I know these cartoons, but it was kind of like after the fact a little bit. A little bit. So, I think that's important to point out. But Gargoyles, man, used to freak the heck out of me.
What's your number 5?
All right, so my number 5 is, it's a little random, not really, but it's a show called Rocket Power. Did you watch Rocket Power?
It's the one with the skateboards.
Yes, it came out in 99.
That was on Nickelodeon, though.
Yes, so here's why Rocket Power was a big deal to me. It was this group of kids that used to run around and do action sports and get into, like, shenanigans. But the reason I loved Rocket Power and the reason it made it list is because it impacted me. So growing up, I was always that girl that was playing sports and doing the most, a tomboy, if you will. And there was a girl on that show named Reggie that was just like me. And it was cool because it's like, oh, I can be a girly girl and I can also go play sports outside. So I remember I'd watch an episode of Rocket Power and then I'd go outside with my friends like Justin and Taylor and go skateboarding or go rollerblading or do like weird stuff. So Rocket Power was always fun to me because I got to see another girl that liked to play sports the way that I did, and I loved it. It was also a really funny and cute show.
Was that the show with the dude, the little kid that was like a caveman that couldn't talk and was always like...
I think that's in your imagination, sweetie.
That's not a real song?
That can't be real. One more time, what did the caveman say? All right, so you're number 4, Gilbert.
So my number 4...
Oh, no! You're an idiot.
Daria, man.
Oh.
I don't know if y'all can hear the theme song or not, but my number 4 was Daria. I think all of mine are really dark. But Daria was a cartoon that used to come on MTV in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And it was about high school. And again, the 90s was primarily my childhood. So, like, I don't know. That was like... I don't know. Daria was lit to me, man. I don't have nothing else to say about Daria. It dealt with adult-ish themes. Like, they talked about sex and drinking and all that stuff, but they did it in a cartoony way. The more I think about it, it wasn't my mother shouldn't have let me watch Daria. But Daria was fantastic.
So Daria is my number 3, but my list, some of them are interchangeable. So Daria can also be my number 4.
What?
Daria was fantastic.
If Daria wasn't acceptable, like if it wasn't appropriate for me, I'm 5 years older than you. So.
Absolutely not appropriate for me. Absolutely. But I remember like Daria was that show that I have to watch with the volume turned down real low so mom didn't come in. And you know what was funny about Daria? Their voices were so weird.
Yeah.
Like it was like grown, like 40-year-old women playing these teenagers. It was so uncomfortable. But Daria was great. And Daria talked about a lot of topics that were heavy, but that were real to growing up and being a female and being a teen and being awkward. And that may make sense as to why we're so sarcastic.
It would make sense. We are very, very
because Daria was doing the most.
We pattern our lives after Daria. It's a terrible role model.
La 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 la.
I bet 2 of our top 3 is going to be the same.
I'm pretty sure our 3 is the same.
No. Our number 1 I know is different, but my number 3 is Doug. Like Doug is so lit.
Well, my number 3 is also Doug. So let's go ahead.
Doug is so lit, fam.
Doug was great.
Doug Funny, Patty Mayonnaise, Skeeter. Why did Skeeter have to be blue though?
Skeeter.
Like, cause Skeeter was clearly black, but he was so black he was blue.
He was so black that he was blue.
That's cold. What about number 2?
I'm talking about Doug.
All right, talking about Doug.
Mention Quail Man.
Quail Man. Oh, the
he had a belt on his head. Wear his underwear on his pants.
Nematodes.
Man, Duck was hilarious. It was great, man. Man, the 90s was fun.
90s had some good cartoon programming, man.
It was great.
Like, what are the lit cartoons today? So, those of you that are listening to this podcast that are younger than us, tell us about some of the dope cartoons of the 2000s. Are there dope cartoons in the 2000s?
The Steven Universe count as the 2000s? I
don't even know what Steven Universe
Steven
is.
Universe is fantastic. You should watch Steven Universe.
I'm like 30.
You are 30. You're not like 30.
I guess like 2000 they had like the Pokemons and the Avatars.
Was Pokemon? We were big on Pokemon too. Was that not the 90s?
I've never watched an episode of Pokemon.
I watched one.
Yeah.
We played the cards.
I did.
Like, we played the game.
Correction, I used to sell Pokemon cards.
Oh, I didn't sell them. Yeah. I kept mine.
All right, number 2.
You go first.
Number 2?
That's how we've been going.
My number 2 is Rugrats.
Okay.
Rugrats. Again, I don't have a lot to say about Rugrats. If you don't like Rugrats, I don't want you in my life.
Whoa.
Like, Rugrats was fantastic.
That's aggressive.
I'm an aggressive human being.
I see that.
Not a house nigga.
All right, so my number 2. So here's the thing. Since this,
now we can't use that clip on YouTube.
God.
Because out of context,
and YouTube has been like
out of context,
down.
That's crazy. Out of context, that's crazy.
Like,
son.
we should have talked about this earlier. YouTube has been cutting down on like advertisement dollars and like classifying different things on YouTube, and you want to just go out there and throw the inappropriate language out.
So for those of you that have been with us for all 3 episodes,
all 3.
We on the first episode we did our music picks and we played 2 songs. Do you know Atlantic Records sent me a cease and desist for playing their music on our podcast?
They came knocking real quick.
Like the night I posted the podcast, Atlantic Records sent me a message and was like, you can't generate any revenue from this ever, right?
Listen here, black kids, what you won't do
and I was
take our money.
Wow. I played 30 seconds of this song. Atlantic.
YouTube is not playing games.
It's ridiculous.
Not playing games. All right, so back to my list. So originally this list was just favorite childhood cartoons, and we had to whittle it down to the 90s because just strictly childhood was entirely too many. But this one cartoon is probably my favorite cartoon of all time, but it didn't make my number 1 because it's not my favorite in the 90s. But my number 2 is Family Guy. Family Guy is a fantastic show.
It came out in the 90s.
It did, but it's not my favorite cartoon in the 90s.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Family Guy is a fantastic show. It is great. It is inappropriate in so many levels. And Family Guy, which I know, so this is an interesting tidbit. Gilbert and I weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up. Like, our mom did not approve of The Simpsons, so she was not about it. So I haven't watched a single episode of The Simpsons. I never cared. But when Family Guy came out, she didn't know about Family Guy. So like, we low-key were able to watch Family Guy without her knowing. But Family Guy is kind of modeled a little bit after The Simpsons, I think. But it's fantastic. It's great. It's inappropriate. But it also talks about issues that aren't commonly brought up. And if I know Family Guy pushes the buttons a lot, but if you actually watch and listen to what they're talking about, they talk about some stuff that is relevant and that should be discussed. And they make the satire they use is great. I think Seth MacFarlane is a genius.
I also love Family Guy. Family Guy lost me the episode that they put Stewie and Brian in that bank vault together, and it was just vomit and feces. That was the last episode of Family Guy that I watched.
So one thing about that episode, so Seth does an interview about that episode where he said it was completely polarizing. It's either you loved it or hate it. But they mentioned something about that I think speaks to the greatness of the show. That entire episode is just Stewie and Brian sitting in a bank vault. There are no cutaways. There are no flashbacks. It's just them for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What other cartoon could just have 2 characters on screen by themselves for 30 minutes?
Cow and Chicken.
No. There's no way you would sit there and watch Cow and Chicken just bantering for 30. You wouldn't.
Facts.
So I think that the fact that they were able to even do that episode speaks to the greatness of that show, man.
Family Guy's a great show.
But it's progressively gotten
crazy.
Yeah, it's intense. And one of the funniest memes I've seen is that they compare the characters at the beginning of Family Guy to them now, and it's insane how they've changed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Family Guy's crazy.
Family Guy's not on my list, and I think it's because, like we said, when we originally started this list, it was favorite childhood cartoons, and I watched Family Guy like more in college, than I did. Because if I was going that route, Futurama also came out in the '90s, so Futurama was dope. Another one that's an honorable mention that is not on my list before I get to my number one is Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Basically, from 1995 to 2005, anything that came on Cartoon Network was amazing.
Adult Swim, to be honest.
Adult Swim was fantastic.
Because also home movies. I don't know if you watched home movies.
Don't put marbles in your nose. Put them in there. Do not put them in there.
All right, Gilbert, what's your number one?
That's from home movies.
What's your number one?
My number one is X-Men.
Oh.
X-Men is that is my number one favorite childhood cartoon. Like I know that this isn't a thing much anymore with streaming, right? But when we lived in California, every single morning, or every single Saturday morning, I would wake up early in the morning. Our parents really liked coffee. I would go get the coffee straws and I would put them in between my hands and pretend like I was Wolverine.
You need to chill out.
Like every Saturday morning. Like I loved, like when we're talking about favorite childhood cartoons, X-Men is number one for me. I love X-Men.
I cared not about X-Men.
X-Men is so legit.
And it's crazy. I've watched like none of the X-Men movies. I couldn't care less about X-Men.
Well, you were an infant.
But I was also a baby newly born.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I was mostly stabbing you with the straws.
Yeah, because when we were in California, I was literally an infant.
You were literally an infant.
So you were stabbing me with straws. It makes our relationship make more sense.
It does.
All right, so my number one has already been mentioned today, but it is the best cartoon of the 90s, and that is Rugrats. Rugrats is my number one, and Rugrats is fantastic. And again, something that I think all of the cartoons that we mentioned today have in common is that they're hilarious, but they also have heavier tones to them. If you go back and watch some of those Rugrat episodes, they're intense. Like when Chucky talks about, they talk about Chucky losing his mom, and they bring it up, and it's like, oh my God, it brings tears to my eyes. Rugrats was hilarious, but it was also real deep. But Rugrats had an episode, first season, that scarred me for life, where somebody swallowed a watermelon seed, and a watermelon grew inside of them. And you can ask Gilbert, to this day, I don't like watermelon. And I think it's because internally, I feel like if I swallow a watermelon seed, I'm going to grow a watermelon inside of me. And I'm not on board for that. I'm not trying to be a watermelon, so.
I also don't want to be a watermelon.
I think I hate you.
That's fair.
I think I hate you. But no, Rugrats is the business, man. I love Rugrats. It's a fantastic show. Fantastic.
Nice.
You ain't say nothing about my number one, man.
I mean, Rugrats is on my list. Rugrats is number 3. I like Rugrats.
You know what you didn't mention that I thought was going to be on your list?
What's that?
South Park.
I didn't like South Park.
I thought you did.
I mean, South Park was cool. Our cousins used to like South Park a lot, so I used to talk about it with them. But I'm not a huge South Park fan.
I thought you liked South Park. The South Park movie is
South Park is
hilarious.
It is hilarious.
No, not the show. The movie. The show makes me uncomfortable.
South Park sometimes I feel like they were pushing the envelope just to push the envelope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of like how Family Guy got in the later years.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with pushing the envelope when it makes sense in the context of the content. But if you're just gonna say house nigger for no reason,
Bill,
I'm not there for it.
You don't support it?
No, I'm not.
That makes sense.
I'm not. So yeah, that's it, man. Thank you guys for joining us today. Again, this is our 3rd episode of the podcast.
Three.
Yep. So we're still moving along, still learning. We really, really enjoy doing this. We really, really would like for you guys to engage in the conversation with us. I know that there were some controversial things that we talked about today. So, if you guys feel a way about anything that we've said, if you agree with us, you disagree with us, or you just want to chat, please reach out to us. We're going to start. We haven't really been broadcasting this thing, but we have gotten quite a few views on YouTube. The SoundCloud is doing really well for no advertisement, so I really, really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys listening to us.
Love you.
But yeah, we want to grow this. We want to grow this base, man. So share it. Yeah, if you like it, share it. Comment, please comment on the YouTube. Again, that might be the easiest way to get in touch with us. If you again, disagree or agree with anything that we've said, drop us a comment, shoot us a message on Twitter, follow us, shoot us an email, whatever. But we'll be back in a fortnight. Linda's going to be in LA.
Yep.
Chilling.
If
you're looking for her,
I'm about to be blim for real.
Pull up. But put some respect on her name.
An entire respect on my name,
Put some
please.
respect on her name.
If you see me out here rocking these braids, realize that Stella has gotten her groove back and I'm ready to go.
Groove back.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. But yeah, follow us.
Here.
Come on.
We in the field. Because we dark as hell. We in the field.
That's not.
I'm sorry.
That's not okay.
We would be feeling
now. How do we end the? Can we end the podcast?
Well,
like that?
Slavery ended, so we can end the podcast.
Slavery ended. So now this episode is over. Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, no.
Be back in a fortnight.
I'm sorry.